Welcome to the Tour Junkies Golf Show on the Better Sports Network. DB here, Pat Perry with me. First week of the FedEx Cup Playoffs starts now. TPC Southwind plays host to the FedEx St. Jude Championship in Memphis, Tennessee, Pat. And it's going to be hot.
Very hot.
Hot in Memphis, baby. CBS is going to be telling you about how hot it is all week long. These guys are going to be so miserable, these pampered Fs, as Patrick Cantlay called them a couple years ago. They can't shit everywhere they want to shit. John Rahm talked about that today.
Yeah. He needs more porta potties out there.
They're just going to be swamp crotching and, Crayola cracking all over the golf course because they can't. They're just so. It sucks being on the PGA Tour. I mean, maybe they should go to Live. I wonder if Live has porta potties or toilets every hole. I don't remember seeing them when I went. Anyway,
you know how when you go into the Chick-fil-A drive-through and it's really hot and some of the people that are working there have those fans that go around their neck and they blow up the air.
Yeah.
Like, who is a golfer you think would wear that on the golf course?
Well, I think that'd be really difficult to wear and swing a golf.
No, I mean, I'm talking about like in between swings, like they like the caddy handed it to him and he was walking to what would be the first golfer that came to your mind that would wear that fan around their neck?
Well, I think that's a pretty big dad move. And I think I think it's got to be a little bit of an older fella, a little guy that's maybe less concerned about how he looks honestly, Brian Harman, our Open champion, may be a good Brian Harman. Andrew Putnam, we talked about him a little bit. I could see that being an Andrew Putnam thing.
I feel like Matt Kuchar would be a fan.
Yeah. I mean, he wears Skechers. Hell, if you wear Skechers,
his fan would probably have some mist in it too. Like it would blow mist and air.
I don't put it past you to wear anything if you wear Skechers. But
anyway, that I don't know. That just came to mind. I was thinking about being comfortable on a hot golf course.
Yeah. Another dad that we didn't think about is Lucas Glover, who just won the Wyndham Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Pat, didn't I get into, and maybe Tony can remind us, didn't I get into the whole rant about Lucas Glover and how he missed the cut on the number on this show?
You did. Yeah. You explained it quite well, and he somehow did not end up on either of our betting cards.
I mean, I did an Instagram video about it. I did a thing on here about it, and I wasn't just doing it. Like, I believed in it. I went through this whole thing about how he three-putted from 19 feet and how that was a 2% thing that he did, and then he missed the cut on the number, and now everybody's freaking out. But he's still been playing great. Didn't have him on the card. But you know who I did have? Billy Horschel.
Billy freaking Horschel. One birdie Billy on 18 on Sunday.
It was the only birdie he could have made that day because every other first putt he hit, holes 1 through 17, never made it to the hole. How in the fresh hell does that guy who shot a 62-63 the 2 rounds before, made everything, not get the ball to the hole? Like, when I'm playing with my buddies, when I'm playing with you, remember, guess, when I'm playing with myself, when I'm playing with my son Collins on the course, it only takes about 4 holes of you not getting the ball to the hole. If we're playing in a team game or some kind of match, or for me to go like, hey, at all costs, get the ball to the hole.
Yeah,
you can't make it if it doesn't get to the hole. He left him short all day. It was the most gutless performance of anybody with a lead going into he was tied for the lead going into the last round. I can remember seeing a 3-over, 2-over round when everybody else is going low.
It was pretty bad. Very uninspiring. He looked very uncomfortable out there. And we talked about this on our show. I mean, it's not like Billy's not a closer. I mean, he's gone in and he's won some golf tournaments, some big golf tournaments, but he looked awful out there, and very disappointed to see that.
Of course, on Twitter that morning or whatever, I threw it out there and said, I've got the Billy Ho outright. I'm down a bunch of units on the betting card this year. Should I hedge with Glover or Henley? I really felt like it was kind of Glover or Henley. I think Ben On had a chance, but and of course I decided not to hedge. And I don't know. this whole season.
What are we doing around here, by the way? I mean, I am up in the units for this year on the outrights, but between Lee Hodges last week and Lucas Glover this week, with all the talk around it and we're missing them.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, anyway, you also had the storylines of the FedEx Cup playoffs and who's making it in the top 70. It made for some great drama. I really enjoyed watching the Wyndham. I'm probably going to enjoy watching the Wyndham probably more so than I'm going to enjoy watching the FedEx St. Jude. I mean, obviously the FedEx St. Jude has a great field. It's a lot of great players, better players than we saw last week. So I'm good to see that. But there was a ton of drama around who's going to get in the top 70. Justin Thomas being the one that everybody had their eyes on, and he didn't get it done. And he did his damnedest. Like, went out and had a good tournament, but just a little too late for the turnaround. And he falls one spot short, just outside the top 70, to miss the playoffs, I think for the first time in his career. Kind of crazy. I mean, we all saw it. We all saw the chip shot. I mean, the daggum ball literally teabagged the hole and then just popped out. And then, and then he falls on the ground, collapses, whatever. I mean, it sucks, but it is what it is. I don't think JT should be on the Ryder Cup team. I think this is that solidified it. I think the worst thing that could happen for Captain Zach Johnson is JT to barely eke into the playoffs and then like maybe have a tournament, maybe play okay next week, possibly advance to Olympia Fields, but still finish outside on the points. That would have been really tough. At this point, there's no way I think you can select Justin Thomas over the guys in front of him. I don't think there's any way Zach Johnson does it. I think he'll make him a co-captain.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you can put JT on the team. Look, I mean, we're trying to win over there for the first time in a long time, and we need to put the best team out there. I've always felt like with Ryder Cup teams or any kind of team, you can't make it on credit alone, meaning like, past credit like this. The reason they did the Ryder Cup and they kind of restructured how they wanted to build the team was to have guys in better recent form. Well, so you can't say that's what you're wanting to do, but then put JT on the team because he's got credit from past teams, or he had a decent year last year. He did win a major, but I guess did he win the Players last year too? I don't know, but it just was.
No, Cam Smith won the
That's
Players.
right. Cam Smith won the Players.
It didn't happen this year at the Players.
That's right. They just skipped over, so like JT won like 2 years in a row almost.
Yeah.
But anyway, I agree. I don't think he should be on the team. Now
he's currently at 6,500 qualified points for Ryder Cup. Now he won't earn another point. He won't have an opportunity to earn another point. So just in front of him, and remember, it's 12 guys go. Just in front of him, you have Ricky Fowler at almost 6,900 points. He's like 350 points ahead of JT. And Fowler is likely going to play at least 2 events in the FedEx Cup playoffs and continue to earn points. Sam Burns is at 60, almost 7,000. Same thing. Colin Morikawa is at 7,100. Same thing. Keegan Bradley's at 7,400. Jordan Spieth's at almost 7,500. Cam Young's at almost 7,700. And Max Homa is at 8,200. Those are the players in front of him that are not currently in the top 6 and locked in. And all those guys are going to be earning points in the FedEx Cup playoffs. There's just no way. Like, who are you going to pass up if you're Zach Johnson and say, oh, no, we're going to bring JT in because, gosh darn it, he's Jordan's best friend. And they're like peanut butter and jelly out there on the Ryder Cup, and they got to play together and go kick Euro ass. Like, you're just not doing that. Like, there's no way. There's no way.
There's plenty of other people too on this team that Jordan can play with and do well with. I think the top 10 are pretty much set all the way out to Keegan. I do think there's going to be some question.
I think you're right.
Around 11, 12, 13, 14. JT still, there's going to be question there for sure, but I don't feel like there's any way Ricky doesn't make it on this team. He's behind Sam Burns in points now, as you just said, but I think he's going to end up passing him.
I mean, Morikawa, Burns, and Fowler are close. They're all close in points. I mean, between Morikawa and Fowler, there's like 250 points maybe, and that is going to be a fun trio to watch for the next few weeks because, I mean, it's going to be so tight, and I just don't see Zach Johnson going outside of the 12th spot to give anybody a so I mean, you got to figure like I've got to be in that 1 through 12 spot. So those guys are kind of those three. It's kind of a game within a game here.
I feel like Ricky's a lock.
Do you? I
Yes,
don't think he's a lock. If
I
he
do.
finishes 13th, I don't
I think he's already on the team. I really do.
really.
I mean, let's look at it this way. Now, the standings are what they are, but if you wanted to go into the top 10 and then just say, okay, well, out of these folks, like Ricky's probably playing better than several of them, just based off of recent form. Better than Jordan,
Yeah.
better than Cam Young, better than Max Homa. So if you just want to like try to compare it that way, I think that almost locks in Ricky.
So if you locked in Ricky, who would you take out of Burns and Morikawa?
I I feel like I'd take Morikawa, but I think that's the one that's that's the one to watch in the playoffs is what Morikawa is doing and what Burns is doing.
And odds are Marco Simone, the course over there in Italy, they're likely going to set it up a lot like they did Le Golf National when we got our butts kicked over in Paris.
Yeah,
and that would tend to lean towards Morikawa.
absolutely.
Plus, with Sam Burns, like, is Sam Burns really like he's not an elite player unless he's on Bermuda. I feel like he's a really good player. He can be a really good player almost anywhere. He's super talented, but like you put him in that like tier with Morikawa and those guys, he's got to be on Bermuda. I doubt they have any of that. I doubt they have any of that southeastern grainy Bermuda in Italy. I just don't.
No.
I don't think they have.
I don't think they do. And I think you're right. I mean, if you are putting together a team for how they're going to set it up, you want a fantastic ball striker like Morikawa. Guy's going to hit some fairways, hit greens, and he's not the best putter, but he's going to give him chance. He's going to give himself a lot of chances over there. So
now a couple names, not that we haven't talked about with the Ryder Cup, but one recently being floated around, at least on golf Twitter, is should Bryson DeChambeau have earned a spot on the Ryder Cup, considering a couple of good major championships this year and winning his first live golf event at Greenbrier in West Virginia just last week, shooting a 50. I think he shot a 61.58 on the weekend. I mean, the obvious answer is no. Bryson should not be on the team, and that's not because I think it's because he's a live player. In fact, I think Dustin Johnson should be on the team. Personally, I would if I were just picking the best golfers, I think give us the best chance to win. I would include Dustin Johnson over a number of players that are outside that top 6 right now. But a lot of people talking about Bryson DeChambeau. What did you see? Did you catch any of the Bryson?
I did not watch I saw his final putt or his putt on 18 to shoot 58, it was exciting. I'm with you. I'm not so sure he should be on this team. Is DJ being on the team for you though? Like, is that kind of like, how sometimes you need to assume the sale? Like if you assume the win, you get DJ in the press conference and because he's going to be a good partier if they win, which is good for team, the post team stuff.
No, I mean, DJ's a killer. He's a killer in match play. He's a killer in the Ryder Cup. He shows up for that stuff. He's a team guy. That's the other thing about Bryson is like Bryson. I don't think Bryson he's not as well liked by most people. I would argue on the American that are qualifying for the American team right now. He's either disliked or they just don't know the guy very well, and they don't probably want him in there. People would probably much rather have DJ in the room. But anyway, like Bryson being on the Ryder Cup is just a dumb argument to me. It's not even close.
Yeah. Well,
and there's talk about his driver. Did you see the driver he was hitting? He was hitting a crank long drive driver. Long drive.
Okay. Interesting.
Not like I don't think the shaft. I don't know. I don't think the shaft was the like super long drive shaft, but the head on it was one of those crank drivers. And there's some people tossing some stuff out there that like is that but anyway, he was hitting.
Yeah, bombs. I mean, are you allowed to? Because the PGA Tour, they'll send people out on the range that'll kind of walk down and check all their clubs and stuff, and they got this notebook and they're writing stuff down.
I didn't get a chance to dig into it, but it is something I saw floating around. He hit one like 380 or 375 on Sunday or Saturday or Sunday on like number 7.
By the way, one quick live thought. off of the rundown here. Nobody talking about Matthew Wolff coming up and playing well after what Brooks said about him.
That's true.
I mean,
Matt finally coming out of hiding, huh?
Yeah.
How about these Bombers just absolutely picking apart the Greenbrier, which is not really notorious for long hitters.
Ted Potter won there, didn't he? Or he had a chance.
Did he? Ted Potter?
I think he did, or either. So Google that, Tony.
Danny Lee didn't. I want to say Danny Lee won there. Did Robert Streb win there? Or
Danny Lee beat Kiz in a playoff too.
I think Streb was in that playoff. Didn't Streb come down to it too? He broke his putter or something. He was putting with a belly of a wedge for. I don't know. It's not notorious for Bombers though. The Greenbrier. That place is.
They did lose a lot of trees and like some sort of flooding or something.
Neiman won in 2019. God, I forgot about that. 9-20. Remember when Jim Justice used to walk around and hand $100 bills to folks when somebody made a birdie or something on that par 3, wasn't it? Or a hole in one?
Yeah.
Lee in 2015, Ted Potter in 2012. What a pull.
I mean,
oh my God. I'm actually concerned. Why do you know that?
I don't know. I do not know how that came into my brain, but it did.
Tour Junkies started in 2015. That's how I know Danny Lee won. In 2012? What are you doing?
Hey, what is part of the Tour Junkies story? All right. We were big, passionate golf fans that just like to do fantasy.
We were not Ted Potter Jr. Greenbrier passionate.
But I watched a lot of golf. I still do.
Oh, the Duck, Angel Cabrera won in 2014. Who also he just got out of prison, by the way.
I think El Pato.
He's out. Dude, homie's broke free, huh? What if they signed him to live? That'd be cool. He could start his own live team, the Enforcers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's a good comment there, Tony. Like is the Duck, is he gonna get back in Augusta? Like, is he gonna go play?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Or at least come to the Champions Dinner. He's out of jail.
He's got like a teardrop tattoo. He's sitting over there next to Jack, telling stories about when he was in prison.
Yeah.
That's sick. Listen, I mean, okay. Bryson shouldn't be on Ryder Cup, so let's be done with that. All right, let's take a break. I didn't even tell the people what all we're doing on the show today. When we come back, we're going to do an underdog best ball draft. And you're like, oh, God. Everybody's doing these best ball drafts for football. No, this is a golf show, and we're doing golf best ball draft because you can do a best ball draft on Underdog right now for the FedEx Cup Playoffs the next 3 weeks. I'm pumped about it. I've done a bunch of them. It's the Pup Cup, baby. That's what it's called. So we're going to draft a team live, share our screen, do some drafting. Hopefully we can get a full lobby so we don't have to sit in the waiting room for forever. That would really screw this whole thing up. We're going to give you a few tips on how to do it. And it'll be a good time. So stay right here on the Better Sports Network. We're coming right back.
Matt Deutsch here, live at the Scott Fish Bowl 13 New York City Draft at Tito Murphy's. The first round of the Shake Shack division is underway. If you can believe it, team number 1, you're going to love this. Mike Lipchenko selects Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback, Miami Dolphins in the 101. An unbelievable, surprising pick here in the 4th spot. From the game day, Scott the King Engel. How does he start his draft? Not with a Seattle Seahawk, but the Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen will lead Scott Engel's team. He's right here. King, what do you think about Josh Allen to start your team?
I didn't think he was actually going to fall to me. The Tua Tagovailoa pick was off the board. Mike said he was going to pivot, so it was just a matter of who's going to fall to me. I just always think about, okay, who's the top guy on my board, who's going to fall to me. But having Josh Allen at 4 proves that every draft has a different flow and you never know what's going to happen.
Bobby Cable's here. Tell us about the Scott Fish Bowl charity personally touched your family.
So basically, when I joined the military, when you get called up, you don't necessarily get money right away. It takes 30 days for any money to hit your account. And what I'm telling you is that if it wasn't for people like Scott Fish Bowl and Toys for Tots, my family wouldn't have had a Christmas. So stuff like this, I'll Hulk smash somebody for, because without it, my family would legitimately not have a Christmas because of it.
Scott Fishbowl and fantasycares.org, of course, Break the Hole. Amazing job for everybody to come out here. And look what we've given ourselves here. A whole Saturday at a New York City bar to ourselves. No family, no job. Some of us are working. But really, fantasy football party here with the best people in New York City together. So congratulations to everybody.
Making you money in daily fantasy sports and golf betting. Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network.
All right, coming up, we're going to do our very own best ball draft on Underdog Fantasy. But if you want to get in on the action, whether it's fantasy football or Underdog best ball drafts for golf, head over to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. They've got a promo code FANTASYALARM, or you can use our promo code Junkies. Both get you the same thing, a deposit match up to $100, 100% deposit match. All you have to do is either enter code FANTASYALARM or Junkies, whatever you want to do, and you're all set. You can join us on Underdog. Welcome back to the Tour Junkies Golf Show here on the Better Sports Network, and we are going to draft our very own Pup Cup team. Okay. Yes, the little Pup Cup, like you get in the
little treat
at Starbucks. Now, here's the thing. Everybody's going to go to the homepage. You're going to see the lobby here. And now the Best Ball Mania thing is pretty crazy. It's the largest underdog or largest best ball fantasy draft football contest ever. They're giving away $15 million, $3 million to first. That's pretty crazy. But don't sleep on the PGA Pup Cup for the 3-week playoff event. Some of the details, right now it's about 68% full. It's going to close on when they tee off on Thursday. How this works is we're going to get thrown into a draft with 5 other teams, so 6 total. We're each going to draft 10 golfers, 60 total golfers coming off the board out of the 70 that are playing in the 3 playoff events. Well, at least guaranteed to play in the first event this week for the FedEx St. Jude Classic. And you're $20,000 to first place if you advance. I think a thing to know is you remember FedEx St. Jude Championship, top 70 are playing this week, no cut. After this week, whoever's in the top 50 will be playing the BMW Championship, okay? And then no cut again. And then the top 30 after that are going to play the Tour Championship at Eastlake in Atlanta, Georgia. That's how it's worked for the last few years. So you need to be aware of that. Scoring, I think, is important. Underdog scoring is pretty aggressive, and it's similar to DraftKings. It's a little more penal on the bad side of things than DraftKings, maybe, if you're used to playing DFS golf. Birdies 4 points, eagles 10 points. You lose more for bogeys and doubles and even a triple. I mean, a triple would be mooey mal for your team, losing 7 points. Yeah. And, especially at TPC Southwind, I want to say this is the course with the most water balls on the PGA Tour. There's
I think you're right.
Yeah, there's a lot of penalty stuff going on. So it's something to take note of. Like I said, you're going to have 10 golfers, and every week, as you advance, your top 6 scores are going to count. So let's see if we can get in a lobby and get it going quickly. It's only $7 to play. All right, well, this is not optimal because there's 3 teams waiting to fill. We'll see how quickly this fills. While we're waiting, though, I will explain to some people a couple of tips, Pat, because you can't just get in here and go blind. If you just get in here and start picking, you're probably going to end up picking a guy who you think is playing in the playoffs, and they're not, right? Like
I think somebody we know just did that.
Who?
Tony.
Did Tony just do that? Oh, yeah. Producer Tony?
Yeah.
Producer Tony, you should try to get in this one. You should go to the Pub Cup and try to draft with us. But, while you produce the show and do all these other things. But anyway, you need to be aware of the top 70 in the FedEx Cup standings. That is very important. So if you take Adam Scott or Justin Thomas, and you're like, dang, I can't believe they made it to me in the 5th round or whatever, you're a ding dong because they're not going to play in this FedEx Cup playoffs. So what you got to do is before you enter a draft, I know you're going to be excited, but before you enter a draft, go to the rankings tab. All right, we only got one more spot and then it's full. Go to the rankings tab and pull in, order your players. I did it pretty much in the order they fall in the FedEx Cup standings. All right, we're all full now. We're probably going to start drafting in about a minute. So if you order your players by rank where they fall in the FedEx Cup, you have a better idea. And then the little trick that I've been doing, Pat, is right here. See Yuto Katsuruwaga or whatever? He's clearly not in the FedEx Cup playoffs. But as I'm scrolling, I see his name. I put him behind Corey Connors at kind of a break point. Corey Connors is the 30th ranked golfer currently in the FedEx Cup standings. That's the break point to get to Eastlake. Now, guys are going to fluctuate, but that's the break point. I did it again with Kiradek Affy Barnett, also not in the playoffs, but he's after the 50th guy, Nick Hardy. And then after the 70th guy, well, I left Justin Thomas in there as a joke. So if you get to Justin Thomas, you went too far. Ben Griffin is number 70. So only the players from Ben Griffin up are actually in the playoffs. Now we're drafting out of the 5th spot, Pat, which I've not done a draft out of the 5th spot yet. It's going to be interesting. 1 through 3 are going to be Rahm, Scheffler, and Rory. Me and Pat are going to talk through our picks. First one is on the board. It looks like Tony is in, huh? Is this you, Tony? Is this Tony? Tony, 30.
There he is, number 4. Yeah.
Okay, Tony's going to pick right.
Oh, look what he's going to be doing to us.
God, he's going to be okay. Anyway, you got to have your rankings done. That is key. Very, very key.
Yeah.
If you go by this ADP, you could get totally screwed.
Obviously, don't put the live guys in there.
Don't put the live guys in there. And obviously, the lower they are to start the playoffs in terms of like the ranking, closer to 30 and number 1. Like the lower they are, the more chance they have of playing all 3 events. And the more golfers you have playing all 3 events, the better chance you have of having a good best ball score. All right.
Yeah.
Tony goes Victor Hovland right after the big 3 went off, Pat. What do you like? Let's do this together. I mean, Wyndham Clark and Homa are the highest ranked. You also have Fowler who's playing well.
Yeah, I kind of want to go Fowler there.
Do you?
I do.
Over Wyndham Clark?
Over Wyndham.
Cantlay, Xander? What about Xander?
Xander's down there. I don't mind Xander.
Let's go Xander.
Yeah, let's go Xander. I like that one. That's a sneaky one there.
I know he's further down on the. I mean, that's one thing you got to pay attention to. Like Morikawa's down here. They're a little further down in the FedEx Cup ranking, which is how we've organized things.
Mm-hmm.
But ADP, they're probably right on. So then Cantlay goes off. All right, we got to be thinking about our pick because I'll tell you, this 30-second clock goes very fast. All right, Max Homa goes off. We still have Fowler if you want him, or we could go Clark, Hatton, Fleetwood are all available. Morikawa. Who do you want?
Let's still go Fowler. Let's get Fowler on the team.
I like it.
I like him to make a good run this.
I haven't been able to end up with any Fowler in any of the drafts I've done because of where I've been picking out of. So this is good. All right, I'm gonna take Fowler. Tony's on the clock. Maybe we stole a guy in front of producer Tony. He takes Finau.
Okay.
Finau's currently number 10, which is pretty safe to play Eastlake. He's not playing that great though. Finau's not.
Yeah,
I think another thing with these best ball drafts, if you do enough of them, I think you got to be okay with being a little weird, getting a little off, right? It's the same thing with NFL best ball drafts, I'm sure. You have to do something a little different at some point because you're competing against, in this contest, 27,000 other entries. If you want to win first place or, top 5 or something, you're going to have some interesting lineup construction or have a guy that surprises people. And there will be people who there will be golfers who surprise us in the FedEx Cup playoffs. There'll be guys that make a run, from the top, 50 to 70 guys and make it to Eastlake and take it deep. There'll be guys that suck. So like, if you just go by the book, especially if you're doing multiple drafts, you're probably not going to give yourself a whole lot of great opportunities. So don't be afraid to get weird.
So if you let's just say somebody in front of you takes all their time, does it just take the highest ranked player automatically?
It takes the highest one, I think, based on the projections or the ADP, one or the other, not necessarily based on our ranking.
Okay.
Fleetwood, Morikawa, Burns, Clark just go off. Those are now we're starting to get to the nitty gritty here. So this is where I think you can really start to be different. So remember, you still have, oh God, I was just about to say you kind of have speed lingering there at the 31 spot. All right, so here's Connors. So Connors, Power, Kirk, McCarthy, Moore, all these guys are still in the top 30.
I saw something down there with Fitzpatrick is kind of interesting.
I could do Fitzpatrick. I mean, he's currently just outside of the top 30.
I would feel good about Fitzy, especially this week too.
3 top 6 finishes in 4 attempts at TPC Southwind. I think Fitzpatrick gives us a lot of upside. I mean, I love it. Let's go. Let's do it. All right, now it's going to come back to us quickly here. So, again, I think we kind of need to stay somewhere near this 30 line.
Yeah.
But you got Ben On, who's playing great right now. Sung Jae's here. Jay Day and Russell Henley just went off. Corey Connors, consistent. Adam Shanks, I don't know. Siwoo, a lot of upside with
up there,
Siwoo. I think
yeah.
he's like 14th in the standings. Brian Harmon.
No one wants to take Brian Harmon.
Should we take him?
I think we should take him.
I mean,
That's
he's going to play all three.
yeah.
Southwind and Eastlake don't necessarily require you to hit the ball forever.
Yeah.
I'm a little more worried about him this week. Just
But he's
coming
got
off-
I think he's got a pretty good history here, doesn't he?
finished T3 here last year. But, he had a press conference today. He talked about how he's kind of sees this week. He's shaking a little bit of the rust off. Obviously wants to play well, position himself great for Eastlake, but he admitted he was rusty. So he may be one that we probably don't count on a ton this week to deliver, but could definitely do some damage, especially at Eastlake. I mean, I think Eastlake's a great course for him.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So these rounds, these 5 and 6 are okay. 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds definitely get interesting. So we got to start, eyeballing some guys here. Let's I would say I could move some of the guys we want to eyeball into the queue, which you can definitely do if people want to do that. Like if I wanted to put Nick Taylor over here, I could do that. This is what how you work underdog. I don't find it necessary in this draft because I'm also trying to pay attention to where they fall in the top 70 or top 70, 30, 50, all that.
Yeah.
Siwoo Kim goes off there at the 4-6 spot. I think that's a great pick.
I agree.
Given his ability to score. Remember, I showed everybody the point structure on Underdog, how it works. Scoring is key. JT Poston is a fantastic pick at the 5.
Man, this Toby fella.
Damn it, Toby. Like Siwoo and JT right there. That's a really good 4-5 pick there. A lot of upside, both playing well, can score. I love that. I've done a lot of these, and I can tell you Nick Taylor gets left alone a lot.
It doesn't surprise me.
Despite how he's
Yeah.
comfortably inside the top 30 right now. If it ended today, he'd play all 3 weeks. And there goes Nick Taylor, thankfully, because ESPN SC is on auto draft, it seems. Producer Tony's coming up. Pat, we got to start eyeballing our picks here.
I got mine on a couple, but I feel like I've had more influence in the picks here.
Okay. Well, Denny McCarthy, Corey Connors goes, which I like that pick a lot.
All right. I was looking at Denny was who I was looking at. So.
All right. Well, let me tell you one down here way at the bottom. Now, he's going to have to make a run, but he's starting to play better. What about Cam Young?
Oh, yeah. I'm a sucker for Cam. I'd go with him for sure. And he's got he's in the Ryder Cup, but I still think he wants to, really look good over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So.
He's somewhere in the 40 spot. 40s spot in terms of FedEx Cup standing. So comfortably, very likely to play next week too. Grillo goes off at 5-6. It's about to be our turn again, Pat. Who we liking? We can go ahead and say it because Tony's after us.
I mean, Shink's up there. He's going to be almost all the way through the playoffs. You got Eric Cole, who's just every week solid.
Ben On's playing well.
I think Ben On has a lot of high upside.
I do too.
You got 12 seconds left. You're going to have to make the call on this one. I can't press the buttons.
I'm going to go Ben On.
Okay.
I like how he's hitting it. I think all 3 of these courses could suit him well. I think Olympia Fields is going to be a course next week where you're going to have to hit it a little bit, and Ben On can do that.
Yeah.
Producer Tony takes Shink. Good move there. All right, we're approaching the 7, 8, 9, 10 spot. These are going to be fun. I do have one player in particular that I like to grab around here. If it gets back to us, I want to go ahead and do it, but I don't know that it's going to happen. He might not make it back to us, Pat. Taylor Moore, Sahith goes off. I've been looking at Sahith a little bit. I could see him just, you give him 4 rounds. He scores a lot of birdies. He makes a lot of big numbers too, which is a little concerning. But I do think Sahith is an interesting pivot because he's not been playing well. So I think people are turned off a little bit, but he could turn it on. And we've seen him play really well in tough fields all season long.
Yeah. Here comes Toby. He's been a
full clock Toby. He's going to do it.
He's been a stealer of players. Hideki. Okay.
Hideki. Well, no, he's been the one. Oh, no. Yeah, he has been a stealer. ESPN SC has been the one on the. So he goes Hideki. I don't mind that at all either. I mean, Hideki at the sixth round. into the 6th round is really good. You still have 3 players inside the top 30. Seamus, Chris Kirk, Kurt Kitayama. Now, when I'm saying inside the top 30, that's where they currently stand. So they've got a good chance of getting to Eastlake unless something really falls off the wagon here, but they could definitely slip out, but they're not playing great. That's why people are ignoring him.
Yeah.
Lee Hodges goes off, then Kitayama. And why do I know that they're in the top 30? Because I planted Yuto Katsuruwagawaga, who's not playing, as a name that I would be like, what the heck? So again, that's one of our tips. That's just the tip for today.
I like that.
Who we like in here? I mean, Harris English. Seamus Power goes off. Eric Cole. All right, can I tell you who I want?
Yeah, get him.
I sometimes you just got to go down and get your guy. This is a little bit of a reach, but I think if you let him get hot, and you let him get to Olympia Fields, he could hurt your feelings. He's currently at 62 in the rankings. So he's got to have a good week this week at TPC Southwind, but he's playing great. I'm talking about Cam Davis.
Oh, yeah.
Playing great. He's got to make a move this week. But if he gets to Olympia Fields, I think he could do some damage. All right, now I've kind of run the last few, so I'm going to let you go. I see a guy like Alex Smalley, Steven Yeager. We're on the clock. Harris English, Brendan Todd, Nick Hardy. That's good. Keith Mitchell.
I tell you, I kind of want to take go up a little bit. Harris English.
Yep.
I think let's go Harris English.
Former winner at TPC Southwind, the course this week back in 2014. 2014 gas was $1.50 maybe. I don't know. All right, Harris English. So we got 2 picks left. Tony goes B. Todd. Producer Tony goes Brendan Todd.
Dogs back to back.
Go Dogs. All right, so far the team is Xander, Ricky Fowler, Matt Fitzpatrick, Brian Harmon, Cam Young, Ben On, Cam Davis, and Harris English. I like it. I really like it. Remember, the 50 cutoff is Kiradek Affy Barnrat, so Nick Hardy is the number 50 spot. These guys here will have to work a little bit, not so hard as like a Cam Davis will to play next week.
I got a guy in here that I think we could go with. I'm eyeing him.
Okay.
I hope he doesn't. I don't want Toby to take him or Tony. Toby and Tony.
Don't do it, Tobes. Adam had one.
Okay.
I doubt that was him. Huh?
That was not him. That was not him.
Okay, good.
That was not him.
Toby's team might be suffering a little bit. Let's see. He's got Scheffler, Morikawa, Fleetwood, Siwoo, Poston, Decky. Actually, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's falling off a little bit here. I like the Hodges pick though too.
It might have been a little rid of a reach though. I wonder.
Yeah.
Hadwin, I don't like it. Toby gets with his next pick, Patrick Rogers. Yeah, it's starting to fall off.
Now it's starting to fall. Toby started drinking midway through.
Tom Hoagie goes off, and producer Tony is almost on the clock here for his 9th round pick. See, this is where everybody's like, yeah, you got to start thinking. Keith Mitchell.
Okay, we got a shot.
Ooh, producer Tony with Stefan Yeager.
Okay. What do you think about Dietrich?
I like it.
Thomas
I was
Dietrich.
hoping. I thought it might have been Smalley, but
Smalley was one of them. But I think I like Dietrich a little better. Is it on the upside there? And he's been playing better.
I think Detry, and I also think Detry will be the least. I bet he's the least popular of the two in terms of, like, I don't know. I just see him being a little bit of an edge over other guys.
May still get Smalley.
Nah, oh, well, yeah, we might. Mac Hughes goes off. God, take that, Chad. Jeez. You trying to tank your team? Then he takes Alex. All right, Nick Hardy is still the only remaining player that he is number 50. So Hardy's available. This is our final pick. JJ Spawn, Vincent Norman, Rye, Hubbard, or Hardy. Who do we want?
I think Hardy. I was eyeing him earlier.
I mean, out of that crew, he's probably got the best chance to play next week too.
Yeah.
Nick Hardy it is.
Okay.
All right, so the Tour Junkies team is settled. We'll wait for all this to wrap up. Producer Tony's making his final pick, and then we'll look at some projections. He goes Hayden Buckley. The Tour Junkies team is Xander, Fowler, Fitzpatrick, Harmon, Cam Young, Ben On, Cam Davis, Harris English, Thomas Detry, and Nick Hardy. Let's take a look at, and we're projected at 1820.7 points. And this is just the underdog projection. Means nothing. Tony, crushing Tony though, huh?
Yeah.
Projected for 100 points more. Producer Tony seemed, Victor Hovland, Tony Finau, Keegan Bradley, Sepp Straka, Corey Connors, Adam Schenk, Eric Cole, Brendan Todd, Steven Yeager, and Hayden Buckley. What do we think is what was producer Tony's best pick in this draft? And not like best player, because it's probably Victor Hovland, but like good selection at the time.
Well, I'm a Sepp fan.
Yeah.
I think that was about right though, where he got him.
Yeah, according to ADP and where he picked him, it was.
I feel like Eric Cole, like, not beside the fact that he doesn't have a picture, but he's just not well known still. And I don't know who's all playing these. Like, if there's some people that just don't follow golf much, but Eric Cole's been so solid all year long.
Yeah, very solid.
So I feel like that was a pretty good pick. I was looking at him in that range too. So
he's got pretty much, I mean, most of his picks are all pretty much where they fall in their ADP, but I do think Connors has some significant upside here.
Yeah.
I feel like his game just kind of translates anywhere, especially it's going to do well here at Southwind with having to be precise, not making too many big mistakes. So I do think that was a solid selection there from producer Tony. All right, well, there's the pick. There's how it goes. It's a lot of fun. Use promo code Junkies on Underdog if you want. You get $100 deposit match, or 100% deposit match up to $100. Check it out. Maybe let us know if you want to draft. You could tweet at us and be like, "Hey, are you guys bored? Let's do a best ball draft." We might hop in and do that. So that's the Underdog. That's how it gets going. It's a good time. I really enjoy it. I talked to some folks at Underdog just a couple of weeks ago, and they said they're evaluating things for the PGA Tour fall swing season. Obviously, they're going to be focused on football pretty heavily. But, I told them there's some opportunity with the fall events. Maybe we could get some other best ball contests for golf. They do them every week for that tournament, but it's just for that tournament. So if you want to extend it out a little further, they're evaluating things. So anyway, that's that. We're going to come back, wrap it up, talk more about TPC Southwind, maybe talk about some bets, and button this bad boy up. Tour Junkies Golf Show coming back on the Better Sports Network in just a second.
Now back to Tour Junkies.
Damn it! Hit one good fucking iron shot.
I don't think you like that one.
On Better Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to the Tour Junkies Golf Show on the Better Sports Network. Just buttoned up our first live best ball draft on Underdog, not for football, but for the Pup Cup, the FedEx Cup Playoffs. Pat, was that your first Pup Cup draft?
It was my second one. But it was the first one I was up in the top. I think I was picking 2 maybe. So it was a little different to be picking at the tail end. But yeah, I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and I think it's a good format.
Yeah, it was a good time. Producer Tony got in there as well, drafted himself a good team. I'm excited about this. I did want to show one other screen just to kind of wrap things up and get your thoughts, Pat. So I've done 5 of those drafts, and these are my player exposures. I'll see if I can maximize that.
Shocker up at the top.
I know. Well, I will say I have been like in the first 3, which is good. Like I've kind of been in the first 3 to 4 picks a fair amount. And I find myself getting to Fleetwood early, like usually with my 2nd or 3rd pick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Fleetwood's been my guy. I've definitely, I told you when we did our live draft that Cam Davis was a guy I wanted to go and get.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at it now, like considering I have him in 60% of my teams when he's number 62 in the FedEx Cup and may only play 1 tournament, that concerns me a little bit now that I look at the number. But any other names in here that kind of jump out at you as I scroll through my
a couple things. One is we were just talking about this during the break, but I think Nick Hardy tends to fall near the end of the drafts because he is in that top 50. So I like that as a pick, kind of getting a top 50 guy near the end.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Rory is your top of the big three. I
let me
don't
see what
see
my
the
other.
other ones in
I have
here.
Scheffler in one lineup.
One, and you have 0 Rom.
No Rom. Yeah.
No Rom. So that's interesting. And I can tell you kind of have a little you like some speed in this
Yeah.
in this format. And it feels like you must think you're getting a little value on them too. And
I do feel like I
Yeah.
do feel like you're getting some value on Spieth. Now he's 31 in the playoff standings, but we know he can go low at any course at any moment, and we know he can score a lot of points. So I feel like he's guaranteed to play the first 2 weeks. He's, and if you were betting on it, like you would probably bet like he's got as good a chance of anybody to move inside the top 30 as someone vacates it, and I would think Jordan could get it done. So
yeah.
I am interested a lot in Spieth. There's a couple in here that I did early, like I did them over the weekend. So I ended up taking Justin Thomas and Billy Horschel and Shane Lowry just in the event they snuck in. So those are dead spots in the lineup. I will tell you, I don't like that I have so little of Siwoo. I want more Siwoo. He's only in one lineup.
Yeah.
The one I drafted, not with you. I guess that was Brian Harman's same thing. I'm starting to kind of come around a little more on Brian Harman's FedEx Cup outlook. So I want to get a little more of him. Xander, I want more of. The dude at East Lake is a beast.
Yeah, he's so good there.
Xander at East Lake. I've only got 20% of Hatton. I think I've tried to get Cam Young more, but he's gone right before I went to pick him, except in the draft with you just a minute ago.
Yeah.
Nick Taylor was an auto draft because I ran
I was about to say, did something happen there?
Yeah, actually, and I did it. I recorded that one live on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and I was talking, and I was trying to give people a tip, and I was looking at my sheet, and I wasn't paying attention. He was the next one up, and then I went to go hit draft on a different player, and it didn't. The 30-second clock is fast.
Another just a tip for this show. Pay attention.
Pay attention. All right, that's enough. Pay attention and don't. But most people listening are also not trying to do a live YouTube,
it's
experience on there.
Well, but they could have kids everywhere. They could have all kinds of things that are, when you're going to do your draft, make sure you're focused on it for the 10 minutes or so that it takes.
Yeah. Yep. All right. That's a good time. All right. Let's talk about this week. FedEx St. Jude. This is a course that we're all pretty familiar with. It's been a host site for the PGA Tour for quite some time. First time it ever hosted the first playoff event for the FedEx playoffs was last year, but it was 125 players. There was a cut, and I'm trying to remember who won that now. Why am I blanking on who won? Oh, Will Zalatoris.
Willie Z. Yeah, Willie Z.
Yeah, Will Z beat Sepp Straka in a playoff. The 3 years prior, it was a WGC event. Abraham Answer won. Justin Thomas won. Brooks Koepka won. Prior to that, it was just a regular run-of-the-mill PGA Tour event, the St. Jude Classic, full field event. Guys like Dustin Johnson, Daniel Berger won it twice. It's a pretty typical par 70, 7,300 yards, pure Bermuda test. These greens are firm, fast, grainy Bermuda. Guys like Sam Burns absolutely love this place. Billy Ho loves it. He ain't going to play it because he can't get a putt to the hole to save his life, but he loves it from his house in Florida. And it's really about being in the fairway. You got to attack this place from the fairway. These greens are small, and it's not a course that appears to be able to be overpowered, which, I like that about the FedEx. I like that the FedEx Cup playoff courses we have do seem, maybe outside of Olympia Fields, do seem to allow a lot of different types of players that can win. Rory McIlroy said that last year of TPC Southwind. He said, this is a golf course where you don't have to hit it forever to win. And I think your past champions here show that. And I think despite some of the guys we've seen have a really good record at East Lake, we've also seen plenty of shorter hitters do well at East Lake. So I think at least two of these three venues for the next 3 weeks do kind of let almost anybody have a shot.
Yeah, I agree. This course is, it plays pretty tough. It's one of the tougher courses they play, and as far as, compared to most of the other ones, is probably in the top 10 to 15 as far as toughest courses all year. A lot of water out there, a lot of trouble out there. So it is one of those courses where you just really got to be a great ball striker. You got to hit fairways. You got to hit these small greens. And when you do miss the greens, you do have to get up and down. And then, of course, putt well on this Bermuda. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a good week, a good test for these guys. Remember, no cut. So we don't have to worry about that. And,
Yeah,
we'll see.
Now, if we're looking at the odds board, let's talk about just kind of this top tier, top range. Scotty Scheffler is your favorite pretty unanimously across the books at around 6-1, followed by Rahm and Rory anywhere from 8 to 9-1 on some spots. Those are your big three. I think Rahm and Rory have a little better. I think Rahm has the best record around TPC Southwind out of the three, although all three have had at least, one good year, 2 good years where they've played well. I saw a video going around today, Scotty Scheffler on Twitter, doing some putter testing, some side-by-side TaylorMade versus Scotty Cameron putter testing on the greens with Ted Scott and some equipment reps today.
Interesting. Well, he's been pretty.
Scotty?
He's been pretty bad with the putter. So
yeah,
I mean,
if I'm Scotty, I'm going to Lucas Glover and like, hey,
that's exactly what I was gonna say. Good talk to Lucas.
Yo, Luke, I could borrow that broomstick for a minute. And like, let me just try this thing out. Like, could you imagine? I mean, that's the thing. If you're on the PGA Tour right now, every week you show up and you see Scotty Scheffler on the putting green every week. If you start seeing him with like a broomstick putter, Brad Faxon hovering around,
yeah,
you better be worried. You know what I mean?
You should be. Yeah. Faxon, by the way, I think
helped him out.
Lucas got some credit or gave credit to Faxon. And when he was talking about his team, he gave credit to Fax. So, I mean, if Fax just shuffles his way over across the putting green, starts talking to Scheffler.
Dude, I mean, the fear on the PGA Tour, if Scotty Scheffler starts rolling the rock, it would it could truly get to an absurd level.
What's so weird about it's weird to me that because I feel like Scotty has a really good putting stroke. Like there's not a whole lot to it. It doesn't look like he's yippy or anything.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Just watch out, though. I mean, as soon as he has a broomstick, if I'm on the tour, I'm like, it's over. We're all cooked. He's done. We're all done. We're all playing for second place. He would just run through the field like crap through a goose. I can't understand how he hasn't tried it. I just don't understand it.
I feel like that's a thing these players have, though, in their minds. They just don't want to quite get there to the broomstick. I mean, it took Lucas Glover like 10 years. It took Lucas Glover a long time.
But the more people you see that make that switch and see results, like the stigma has to go away. I mean, like
Adam Scott does it.
I was just about to say, like the sexiest man on the PGA Tour for like the last 20 years is using it. Who gives a crap? He's wearing brown on brown clothes every week.
I mean, you can't be talking about this. I used to putt with a long putter, and you gave me so much crap for having the long putter.
But you're you. You're not them.
I'm just saying. I mean, it's still a stigma.
You know what? I'll go ahead and make this announcement for next week, but I'm going to segue into what we're talking about here. So next week, I'll be in Chicago at Olympia Fields. Unfortunately, my boy Pat cannot travel with me, but doing some work with the PGA Tour and with DraftKings in a legal gambling state. Thank you, Jesus. So we'll be there doing some content for the BMW Championship. But I just had the thought, Pat. Well, 2 things. Number one, I know you're going to have a guest on next week's show that I'm excited about. Our very own Blake Kazava. Yeah. If you don't know who Blake is, Blake is a member of the Tour Junkies, and he's in our Discord in our Nut Hut. He's a PGA professional out of Colorado. He's absolutely hysterical. He's a young dude, and he's got a great ability to talk the game, teach the game. But Blake's going to come on for a couple segments with Pat and kind of help Pat carry the show on Tuesday and he'll do a great job. We just did an episode of a new piece of content we're doing with Blake on our YouTube channel called One Groove Low. It's a lot about everything else golf, not gambling and betting related. But anyway, Blake's going to join you while I'm in Chicago. But now I'm thinking about it, Pat. Unless I'm having to do something for the tour, I will make sure that when Scotty Scheffler is at the podium on Tuesday and Wednesday for media, I'll be in there and I'll ask, Scotty, do you know how to use a broom? Have you ever used the broom? Have you ever used the broom with the putter head on the end of it? Have you ever tried that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask him. I don't know why. I don't know how people haven't asked him yet. I mean, actually, it might happen tomorrow. He's on the press. He's on the. It might happen Wednesday. He's on the calendar for Wednesday.
I hope it doesn't happen. I want you to be able to ask this question,
so I can ask it.
I want you to be able to ask. I thought you were going to say is that you're going to talk about Blake probably roasting my swing on the show next week, which will probably happen. So we'll probably get to that later.
No. Should I just set it up like, what's his wife's name? What's his wife's name? Should I just be like, hey, who does the sweeping around your house?
Well, then you kind of open yourself up to the people that might be like, wait, why are you assuming?
Oh, Scotty Scheffler sweeps his own house.
But maybe his wife doesn't either. I don't know.
Tony,
they may have a nanny.
Tony, tell me how much money Scotty Scheffler's won on the PGA Tour this year, please. God, I don't care. If people did get mad at that, I would not care. Would not care at all. Don't care. You think Tiger Woods swept his house? No. I mean,
the picture in my mind of Tiger sweeping and Scheffler sweeping around their houses. I mean,
anyway, it's going to be a good show next week. I'll try to get some good content. I will definitely ask Scotty that question if he doesn't get asked tomorrow. The underdog draft was a good time. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad we humored that. Thank you, producer Tony. Scotty Scheffler has won $16 million this year on the course.
Well, I mean, he's an everyman type guy. He's probably done some sweeping around the house.
But everyman means everyman just means like you can use, the difference between like a Phillips head and a flathead, or you can fish a bass out of a pond or something. You don't. Sweeping is not like a manly thing that an everyman goes and learns how to do.
Sweeping isn't that difficult.
It's not hard. I mean,
which is why why more players don't use a broomstick. It's an easy motion when you're sweeping.
Right. It's natural. It's very natural. It's organic. It's organic putting. All right, it's getting now the takes are just getting bad. I got to go. Thanks for watching the Tour Junkies Golf Show here on the Better Sports Network. Pat will be back next week with our boy Blake. Have a week. May your screens be green and bend over your bogeys. See ya.
Out.